The dark shapes of the alien fleet moved silently through the cold void of space. For 500,000 years, they had remembered Earth as a quiet, fragile place, a small blue dot filled with primitive creatures struggling to survive. Now, after 500,000 years, they returned to see what had become of the humans. What they saw stunned them. From a distance, the planet glowed with energy, lights flickering across continents, signals reaching far into space. It was alive, not dead. It was not the weak world they had left behind. John Carter leaned back in his chair at the observatory on the outskirts of Denver, staring at the monitor in disbelief. He had been tracking strange objects moving through the outer solar system for weeks, but nothing had prepared him for this. Hundreds of small, precise shapes were slipping silently past the orbit of Jupiter, moving in formation, almost like a school of fish in space. He tapped the keyboard, alerting his colleagues. "Look at these patterns," he said quietly to Lisa Morris, who was checking power readings for the new satellite arrays. "This isn't anything we've seen before. It's not asteroid behavior. It's intelligent, and it's huge." Lisa frowned, adjusting her glasses. "Intelligent? John, they're too far out. How could anything that intelligent move that quickly without us noticing before?" "I don't know," John admitted. "But these aren't drones or probes. It looks like a fleet. Hundreds, maybe thousands of objects, all moving in precise formation. Far above them, orbiting satellites flickered, picking up the first signals of the alien fleet. Humans had grown accustomed to detecting small anomalies in space, debris, meteorites, even artificial satellites from other nations, but nothing had ever moved like this. The aliens themselves watched Earth through their instruments. Their fleet, led by a command vessel named the Valen, hovered just outside the orbit of Neptune. The alien captain, Rythak, studied the planet carefully. He had expected a world that was dead or dying, covered in ice and rock, with only traces of humanity's brief existence. Instead, he saw something alive, something thriving. Massive cities glimmered, energy flows moved across continents, and even orbiting structures, artificial satellites, they guessed, swirled around the planet in controlled patterns. "This cannot be," Rythak muttered to his first officer, Selekira. "Our records show humanity as fragile, weak. They barely survived their last extinction, and yet this is a world of strength. How?" Selekira's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps they learned from other species, Captain. Perhaps they were not as alone as we believed." Rythak shook his head. "No, their evolution was too sudden, too precise. We did not leave them enough time. Something is wrong, something is hidden." Back on Earth, John and Lisa watched the alien fleet make a small maneuver toward the inner solar system. John's hands trembled as he zoomed in on the objects. The shapes were large, metallic, and unlike anything humans had built. The fleet seemed cautious, almost hesitant. It was as if the aliens were testing the waters, unsure of what awaited them. "This is it," John whispered. "This is first contact. After all the theories and simulations, this is real." Lisa nodded, though her face was pale. "And terrifying. Do you think they mean harm?" John shook his head. "I don't know, but we need to be ready for anything." The aliens debated in their council chamber aboard the Valen. Ancient holograms of old Earth records flickered around them, showing humans as they had been 500,000 years ago, small, fragile, and easily broken. Now, new data poured in. The readings showed complex energy networks, orbital habitats, and cities that spanned hundreds of kilometers. The aliens could not reconcile this with what they remembered. "If these are the same humans," said Rythak, "they have evolved far beyond our expectations. Far beyond what we believed possible." Another officer, Jehara, spoke hesitantly. "Perhaps we underestimated their resilience. Perhaps their survival instincts made them stronger than we imagined." Rythak frowned. "Resilience alone cannot explain this. They have mastered energy, space, communication, defense, all in 500,000 years. Impossible." Humans were already aware of some of the alien fleet's presence. Satellite systems detected faint signals, unusual patterns in cosmic radiation, and gravitational anomalies caused by the large metallic ships. Paul Edwards, a communications officer stationed in Colorado, analyzed the data and confirmed it was not a natural phenomenon. "John," he said urgently over the secure line, "this isn't a meteor storm or debris. It's organized, it's a fleet, and it's heading straight for us." John swallowed hard. "Okay, this is bigger than anything I imagined. Alert the Global Defense Council. We need all eyes on this." As the aliens moved closer to Earth, their sensors began detecting human energy flows. Satellites, cities, and orbital stations all hummed with activity. The aliens realized humans had detected them before they even tried to communicate. It was unsettling. For 500,000 years, no species had seen the fleet approaching until the fleet wanted to be seen. Rythak studied the readings. They see us without scanning. They know we are here, their senses, their instruments. They are beyond what we expected. Captain, Selakira said quietly, "Are we in danger?" Rythak's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps, but more than danger, I feel curiosity and fear. A species this advanced, this aware, it is unpredictable." On Earth, John, Lisa, and Paul worked through the night, trying to understand what they faced. The aliens were moving slowly, almost cautiously, toward Earth. Their fleet stretched across millions of kilometers, a silent river of metal in the darkness of space. "We have to assume they know more than we think," John said. "We cannot respond like this is a normal encounter. We are small, they are massive, but they haven't attacked yet. Maybe they are studying us." Lisa nodded. Maybe they are waiting for us to make a mistake." As the hours passed, the world watched. Governments, scientists, and civilians alike were glued to screens showing faint, distant lights in space. Conspiracy theories exploded, panic whispered through the streets, and yet a strange awe filled the human mind. For the first time, humanity realized it was no longer alone, and that the universe held watchers older and far more powerful than themselves. The alien fleet continued its approach, scanning silently, recording every energy signature, every orbital station, every human city. Rythak and his officers observed, realizing that humanity was not only alive, they were thriving. It was no small collection of scattered tribes as history had once shown. It was a civilization, complex, organized, and strong beyond measure. "What are they hiding?" Rythak asked, his voice low. "How did they survive? How did they grow so fast?" "Perhaps it is instinct," Jehara said. "Perhaps survival made them cunning, made them clever, made them dangerous." Rythak looked at the planet below, glowing with life, and felt a shiver of unease. This was no longer a world to conquer or study easily. This was a world that had learned, adapted, and survived beyond the reckoning of even the oldest alien records. John, watching from Earth, typed a message to the Global Defense Council. "They are here, they are studying. We do not know why yet. Prepare for anything. And remember, we may be small, but we are alive, and we have learned to survive too." Lisa put her hand on his shoulder. "It feels unreal. After everything, they're finally here, and we have to face them." The first night of the alien return passed slowly. The fleet hovered at the edge of the solar system, scanning, waiting, watching. Humans prepared in silence, unsure what to expect. Some hoped for peaceful contact, others feared destruction. The stars above seemed colder, more distant, and yet closer than ever. And somewhere aboard the Valen, Rythak stared at Earth and whispered, "They are not the same species we left behind. They are something else. And I do not know if we can survive what they have become." The silent, tense observation stretched for hours, until the fleet began moving closer to the inner planets, still careful, still cautious. The humans, unaware of exactly how advanced the aliens truly were, only knew one thing. Something ancient had returned, and the world would never be the same. The alien fleet moved slowly toward Earth, keeping to the outer planets for now. Inside the command vessel, Rythak and Selakira studied the planet's signals. Every human city, every orbital station, every power source was alive, moving and responding to each other in ways the aliens had never seen. They could not understand it. The humans were organized, coordinated, and aware. "Their energy flows," Rythak said quietly. "They are intelligent, not just tools or machines, but decisions are being made. Patterns we do not control." Selakira frowned. "It is almost as if the planet itself is alive. And the humans are its mind. They are stronger than records show," Rythak said. "They survived disasters we thought would destroy them. They rebuilt, and now they flourish. There is more danger here than we expected." On Earth, John Carter, Lisa Morris, and Paul Edwards worked through long hours analyzing the alien fleet. Satellites and telescopes monitored the shapes, and new signals in space suggested the fleet was more advanced than humans could understand. "Look at this," John said, pointing at a screen. "They are not just moving through space. They are scanning us, every city, every station, every energy source. They know where we are, and they know what we are doing." Lisa looked at the readouts. "They are watching us but not attacking. Maybe they want to learn first. Maybe they think we are weak, but they are wrong. Maybe, John said, but I don't like waiting. Waiting is dangerous. The longer we wait, the more they see, the more they know. We need to prepare for anything. Human governments began noticing unusual signals in orbit. Unusual patterns in satellites, unknown electromagnetic readings, and strange energy pulses from deep space. Some tried to hide it, fearing panic. Others prepared. Military bases around the world went on high alert, but the civilians were mostly unaware of what was happening. Lisa and John began coordinating with engineers across the country to reinforce power grids, secure communications, and establish early warning systems. They knew the aliens could move faster and think faster than humans, but humans had one advantage: adaptability. They are learning, Lisa said. Every time we move, they watch. Every time we communicate, they listen. We have to be careful. Yes, John said. But we also have to show we are not weak. If they see weakness, they may assume we are easy prey. On the alien fleet, Rythak debated with his officers. Some suggested they retreat, thinking humans were too dangerous. Others wanted to attack before humans could grow even stronger. We underestimated them, Rythak said. Their growth is rapid. Their power is impressive. Attacking them now could be risky, but leaving them unchecked may be worse. We must understand them before we act. Selakira nodded. Our sensors detect their defensive systems. Orbital shields, energy barriers, automated drones, they are not primitive, and yet they appear calm, organized, and confident. They are not afraid of us, even knowing we are here. Their confidence is troubling, Rythak said. It is not fear, it is something else. They are prepared and they are waiting. We must be cautious. As the aliens observed, humans began detecting unknown objects moving just outside geosynchronous orbit. Small, precise shapes, almost invisible against the stars, hovered in perfect formation. John's team noticed them first. These are too precise to be natural, John said. Look at the way they move. They respond to each other, adjust positions, maintain distance. These are artificial, intelligent, Lisa frowned. So the aliens are here close, they are testing us, seeing how we react. Exactly, John said, and we need to respond carefully. One wrong move and they may see us as a threat or as prey. Humans were not idle. Cities reinforced their grids, scientists coordinated defense systems, and orbital stations adjusted their orbits to avoid unknown objects. Paul worked on communications, trying to decode any signals the aliens might send. After hours of analysis, he discovered faint pulses carrying patterns, mathematical codes, sequences, and symbols. John, Paul said, they are trying to communicate. It is not language as we know it, but it is structured, intelligent. They want to send a message. Good, John said. Maybe we can respond. We need to show them we are aware and we are capable. Maybe that will buy us time. Paul began constructing a response using numbers, mathematics, and universal constants. It was simple, careful, and clear. The aliens, observing from the Valen, detected the response almost immediately. Rythak studied it. They understand us, he said quietly. They are faster than we expected. Their minds are sharp, their comprehension advanced. They are not just surviving, they are mastering their environment. But why? Jehara asked. Why do they respond so quickly? 500,000 years should make them primitive compared to us. Perhaps time is not enough to measure them, Rythak said. Perhaps survival, adaptation, and struggle made them stronger than we imagined. Perhaps they are dangerous because they refuse to be weak. On Earth, John, Lisa, and Paul waited nervously as their response traveled across space. Minutes felt like hours. Then the aliens sent a signal back. Paul decoded it, revealing symbols embedded in human history, ancient signs, long forgotten, now improved and reorganized. Humans recognized the symbols, but the patterns were enhanced, more precise, and clearly intelligent. They know our history, John said, astonished. They see our past and understand it. Somehow they recognize who we are, Lisa shivered. They know us, they know what we can do, and yet they are still here. Rythak looked at the patterns humans sent back. They are clever. They built on knowledge we left behind. They improved it. They adapted. This species, they are not as weak as we thought. Dangerous, Selakira whispered. They are dangerous. They do not fear us. They do not hide. They watch, they learn, they respond. They are not afraid. As the humans and aliens exchanged signals, both sides observed and learned. Humans recorded alien movement patterns, analyzed fleet formations, and studied energy signatures. The aliens watched human cities, power flows, and satellite networks. Neither side acted aggressively, but both were aware of the other's capabilities. John stood at the observatory window looking at the stars. They are watching us. We are watching them, and yet we do not fight. Maybe this is just the first step. We need to learn. We need to prepare, Lisa nodded. We are small, but we are alive, and that matters. We have something they do not expect, resilience. We survive even when everything is against us. Resilience, John repeated. That may be our only advantage, that and our ability to adapt. We can change faster than they expect. We can learn. On the alien fleet, Rythak made a decision. We cannot attack yet. We must observe more. This species is unpredictable. Their growth, their adaptation, it may be dangerous to confront them directly. Selakira added, and yet they are aware of us. They know we exist. They may act before we do. We must watch carefully. The first week of contact passed slowly. Humans adjusted to the presence of the alien fleet, strengthening defenses, preparing communications, and monitoring every movement. Civilians remained largely unaware, but scientists, military officials, and leaders understood that something extraordinary was happening. The aliens, hovering just beyond Mars, watched the planet with caution. They had returned after 500,000 years expecting weakness, and instead they found strength. They had expected primitive creatures, and instead they found intelligence, strategy, and resilience. This is not the Earth we remember, Rythak said. This is not humanity as we left it. It is something new, something terrifying, and we do not yet understand it. Lisa, John, and Paul continued their work, unaware of the full scope of alien thought but fully aware of the danger. Humanity was no longer alone, and the universe had watchers older, stronger, and far more advanced than they could imagine. We are alive, John whispered to Lisa and Paul, and that may be all that matters. And as night fell across the Earth, satellites blinked in orbit, signals pulsed in space, and somewhere the alien fleet continued its silent observation, unsure whether humans were to be studied, controlled, or feared. The first real contact had begun, and the tension of understanding, fear, and possibility stretched across the stars. Humans had seen the unknown, and the unknown had seen them. Both sides knew the other existed, and both sides were learning fast. The next move would decide everything, but for now, observation ruled, and silence filled the void between worlds. The alien fleet moved closer to the inner planets, their massive ships casting faint shadows across the solar system. Aboard the Valen, Rythak studied Earth more closely. Humanity had not attacked, but their response to the fleet's signals was sharp and precise. Humans were fast learners, adapting quickly, and it unsettled the aliens. They do not fear us, Rythak said. They watch, they respond, and yet they remain calm. This is not weakness. This is something else. Selakira frowned. They are unpredictable. Their defenses are growing even as we observe. They adapt faster than we expect. We may have underestimated them. Rythak's eyes narrowed. And that is dangerous. We are here after 500,000 years expecting little. Instead, we find intelligence, strategy, and strength. We must be careful. They are not primitive, and they are not alone in their thinking. On Earth, John Carter and Lisa Morris worked with Paul Edwards to prepare for the first real encounter. Humans had sent signals and received responses, but these were only small communications. The aliens had not acted aggressively yet. Still, humans could sense the danger. They are learning from us, John said. Every calculation we make, every signal we send, they study it. If they wanted, they could strike now and overwhelm us. But they are waiting. Why? Lisa shook her head. Maybe they are testing us. Maybe they want to see what we are capable of. We cannot know their thoughts. We only know their actions. Paul looked at the monitors. And their actions show intelligence, pattern recognition, prediction. They see our moves before we make them. We need to anticipate what they might do next. Human leaders decided to send a small, unmanned probe toward the alien fleet. It carried cameras, sensors, and communication devices. Its mission was simple: observe and record. The probe moved carefully, taking slow, deliberate steps into space. Aboard the Valen, Rythak's sensors detected the probe immediately. He studied its design, its movements, and its signals. Humans are daring, he said. They send this small device into our formation without fear. They want to learn about us. They are clever and they are bold. Selakira looked at the readings. It is small, but it carries information. They may think it is insignificant, but they are testing us. We cannot ignore it. Rythak gave an order. The probe was intercepted and carefully examined. Alien technology scanned its signals, decoding patterns and studying the human designs. The aliens recognized intelligence and curiosity, and something ancient within them stirred. Memories of their own past visits to Earth, long before humans had grown strong, surfaced. This species is different, Rythak said. It is not like before. It adapts, it learns, it is aware, and it is patient. We must watch closely. On Earth, John and Paul received feedback from the probe. Cameras showed alien formations, their scale, and their structure. Sensors detected energy flows, communication methods, and shield patterns. Humans were astonished. The aliens were enormous, complex, and efficient, yet their movements were careful, almost cautious. They are studying us too, John said. They see everything we send. They know we are watching them. It is like a game of chess. Every move counts. Lisa added, and they are older, more experienced. We cannot hope to match them in speed or knowledge. We can only prepare, adapt, and survive. The alien fleet continued to observe, but some officers began to argue. Some suggested leaving, thinking humans were dangerous and unpredictable. Others wanted to attack, believing that striking early might prevent humans from growing stronger. Hack listened carefully, weighing every opinion. We cannot act recklessly, he said. This species is clever. It is not weak. Attacking them now may be more dangerous than we expect. Patience is our advantage. Observation is our weapon. Humans, meanwhile, discovered strange objects in orbit around the planet. They were small, almost invisible, and moved with intelligence. Satellites detected their energy signatures and patterns. Paul and John realized these were not weapons, but probes designed to learn about human systems. They are everywhere, John said. We cannot hide from them. They see our cities, our satellites, our power grids. Everything we do is visible to them. Lisa nodded. And yet they have not attacked. They are watching, learning. Maybe they are trying to understand if we are a threat. The aliens observed human activity carefully. They saw humans adapting, reinforcing defenses, and preparing for potential conflict. Rythak began to realize that humans were not only intelligent, they were survivors. Every disaster, every challenge in their history had strengthened them. The species did not just live, it thrived under pressure. They are dangerous, Rythak said quietly. Not because of their weapons, but because of their minds. They learn, they adapt, they endure. They do not fear death, they survive, and that is terrifying. On Earth, John, Lisa, and Paul worked around the clock. Scientists across the planet shared data, military strategists studied potential threats, and engineers reinforced critical infrastructure. Humans were aware that an unknown power far greater than themselves had returned, and yet they refused to panic. They focused on preparation, on learning, and on survival. We have faced disasters before, Lisa said. Pandemics, wars, natural catastrophes, we survived. And we can survive this too. We must be smart, careful, and patient. Exactly, John said. We do not know what they want yet, but we cannot give them a reason to attack. At the same time, we must be ready for everything. Their silence does not mean safety. After days of observation, the aliens finally made a cautious move. A small automated vessel detached from the main fleet and approached Earth, moving carefully toward the outer atmosphere. Its mission was simple: observe, scan, and gather more data. Humans detected the vessel immediately. Satellites tracked it, and John's team worked to interpret its signals. It was not hostile, but it was precise and deliberate. Humans realized the aliens were testing boundaries, probing defenses, and measuring response times. They are watching, John said. They want to know what we can do. Every move we make, they see. We have to think ahead. Lisa studied the energy readings. And they are patient. They do not rush. They observe. They learn. This is a species that understands the value of caution, but they are not weak. We must be careful. The probe reached the edge of Earth's atmosphere and began detailed scans. Energy shields were mapped, communication networks analyzed, and orbital stations observed. The aliens learned quickly. They began to predict human responses, anticipating adjustments and defenses. Rythak studied the data with a mix of admiration and unease. They are clever, he said. They anticipate, adapt, and respond. They are not what we expected. We may have underestimated them for centuries. This species is strong, and it grows stronger every moment. On Earth, humans realized the probe scans were revealing weaknesses. Paul worked to adjust systems in real time, redirecting energy, modifying satellite positions, and confusing the alien sensors. Humans were fast learners too, and the first direct observation became a contest of wits. "They are not infallible," Paul said. "They learn from what we show them, but we can control what they see. We can hide, mislead, and adapt faster than they think." John nodded. "This is the first real contact. It is not a war, but it is a test of intelligence, strategy, and patience. We cannot fail." The alien fleet watched, realizing humans were not simple creatures. The species had grown, evolved, and learned to survive in ways that even ancient records could not predict. Rythak began to feel a rare sense of respect, mixed with fear. Humans were dangerous not because of weapons, but because of the mind, the will, and the adaptability they carried. "They are a predator species," he said quietly. "Not in violence, but in survival. They do not yield, they do not weaken, they endure. And that makes them terrifying." As the days passed, the aliens withdrew the small probe, taking the information back to the fleet. Humans adjusted defenses, analyzed data, and prepared for further encounters. Both sides had learned something crucial. Intelligence, patience, and adaptability were more powerful than brute strength. "This is only the beginning," John said. "We have seen them and they have seen us. We know they are here and they know we are ready. Every day we learn more and every day we prepare." Lisa looked at the stars. "And they are learning too. This is a silent battle, a test of minds. We must be careful, but we must not fear. We survive and that is our strength." Rythak and his officers reviewed the data once more. "This species is clever," he said. "It learns, it adapts, it grows. We cannot predict them fully. We must watch, observe, and wait. And perhaps we must respect them. They are more than we expected." Humans had survived disasters, wars, and extinction events. Now they faced a species older, stronger, and far more advanced. The first real contact had begun, and both sides understood that the outcome depended not on immediate violence, but on intelligence, patience, and the ability to adapt faster than the other. And as night fell across the Earth, satellites blinked, sensors pulsed, and the alien fleet hovered silently in space, unsure of what would come next. Humanity had been seen, tested, and measured, and the universe had been reminded that humans were no longer simple, weak creatures. They were survivors. They were clever. They were dangerous in ways the stars themselves had never expected. The alien fleet hovered silently beyond Mars, observing Earth with a mix of awe and unease. Rythak and his officers reviewed all the data they had gathered over the past weeks. Every city, every orbital station, every energy grid, every communication network had been mapped, analyzed, and studied. The humans were clever, fast learners, and remarkably coordinated. "They are not what we expected," Rythak said quietly. "Their growth, their intelligence, their resilience, it is beyond our predictions, and they are not afraid. That is the most dangerous part." Selakira looked at the holographic images of Earth. "We assumed they were still fragile, weak. We expected a species that could be managed, controlled, or observed without danger. We were wrong, very wrong." Rythak's eyes narrowed. "We have underestimated them for 500,000 years, and now we see the truth. They are predators not of other species, but of survival itself. They endure, adapt, and overcome, and that makes them terrifying." On Earth, John Carter, Lisa Morris, and Paul Edwards continued to coordinate global observations. Humans had not fired a weapon, nor had they made aggressive moves, yet they had learned from the aliens, adapted, and strengthened every system that might be vulnerable. "They are clever," John said. "Every probe, every signal, every movement they make is calculated. They are testing us, learning, observing, and we are learning too. We can survive this because we do not panic, we adapt." Lisa nodded. "We are small compared to them, but we are fast and we are clever. We do not yield, we survive, and that may be our greatest strength." Paul studied energy readings from the latest alien probe. "They are scanning our cities, our satellites, our defenses. They are trying to predict our moves, but they cannot fully anticipate everything. We can still hide, mislead, and confuse them if we are smart." Rythak's officers debated what to do next. Some wanted to attack now, believing humans could be crushed before they grew stronger. Others warned that humans were unpredictable and dangerous, capable of rapid adaptation and unexpected strategy. "We cannot act rashly," Rythak said. "This species is clever, resilient, and patient. Attacking them now may be fatal. We must continue observation. We must understand them fully before we act." The aliens continued scanning, probing, and analyzing. Then Rythak discovered something unexpected: archived human history. Centuries of wars, natural disasters, pandemics, and conflicts were recorded in their databases. Every catastrophe humans had faced, every challenge they had overcome, every moment they had adapted to survive, it was all preserved. "Look at this," Rythak said, showing Selakira the records. "They survived events that should have destroyed them. Entire regions wiped out, species nearly gone, and yet they endured. They learned, adapted, and grew stronger each time. This is not simple survival. This is evolution through challenge." Selakira frowned. "They did not just survive. They mastered every disaster, every danger, every threat. They turned adversity into power. And now they are fully grown, fully capable. We are no longer superior. They are beyond us in ways we cannot measure." Rythak felt a cold unease. "They are dangerous not because of weapons, but because of their minds. Every failure, every near-death experience, every challenge they faced has sharpened them. They endure what would destroy most species, and they do not yield. That is terrifying." On Earth, humans began to notice something unusual in the aliens' behavior. The fleet had paused its approach, observing, scanning, but not advancing. Satellites detected movement patterns that suggested hesitation. John, Lisa, and Paul realized that the aliens might be cautious, perhaps even afraid. "They are unsure of us," John said. "They expected weakness, but they did not find it. They are learning, but we have something they do not fully understand: resilience, survival, patience." "That may be our greatest advantage," Lisa nodded. "We have endured for thousands of years through wars, disasters, and disease. We adapt, we survive, and now even a species older and stronger than us recognizes it. They are cautious because they know they cannot predict us completely." The alien fleet continued scanning Earth, and Rythak's team began to piece together the full picture. Humans had survived extinction-level events, adapted to environmental collapse, and rebuilt entire civilizations multiple times. Their cities were not just strong, they were intelligent, energy-efficient, and self-reinforcing. Their satellites and orbital systems could detect threats from space before they arrived. Their technology was not only advanced, it was clever, adaptive, and anticipatory. "They are not just a threat," Rythak said. "They are a species built on survival, strengthened by adversity. Every danger they have faced has made them sharper, stronger, smarter, and they are patient. They do not strike blindly, they endure, and that makes them terrifying." Selakira's voice was quiet. "We cannot predict them, we cannot control them. They have survived everything history and nature could throw at them, and now we face them. We are in danger simply by existing near them." Rythak nodded. "We must withdraw, at least for now. We cannot underestimate them. This species is not weak. It is not primitive. It is a predator in survival, and patience is its weapon. We cannot confront them directly without risk of disaster." On Earth, John, Lisa, and Paul continued to strengthen defenses, analyze alien patterns, and prepare for future encounters. Humans had not fired a weapon, yet their actions had been effective. They had adapted, learned, and concealed information from the aliens. They had survived the first encounter, and they were ready for the next. "We are alive," John said quietly. "And that is what matters. We do not need to attack. We do not need to conquer. We only need to survive, adapt, and learn. That is what makes us strong." Lisa smiled faintly. "And they see it. They understand it. Even a species older and stronger than us is cautious because they recognize our power. Our greatest weapon is not a weapon at all. It is our will to endure." Rythak and his officers made their decision. The alien fleet would withdraw slightly, continuing observation from a safer distance. They would not attack yet, not while humans were aware, adaptable, and clever. Patience was their only option, but it was a fragile one. Humans were unpredictable, and their survival instincts were beyond the aliens' understanding. "We return for now," Rythak said to his fleet. "But we will continue to watch. They are not the species we left behind. They are stronger, sharper, and more dangerous than we imagined. We must respect them or risk everything." On Earth, John, Lisa, and Paul watched the fleet slowly move away. Humans did not cheer, for they understood that this was only the beginning. The aliens had returned, observed, and retreated, but the encounter had changed everything. Humanity was no longer alone, and the universe had been reminded that humans were clever, adaptable, and resilient beyond expectation. "They are gone for now," Paul said, "but they are learning. They will return, and we must be ready." John nodded. "We will be ready. We always are. We survive, we adapt, and we endure. That is what makes us dangerous. That is what makes us strong." Lisa looked at the stars. "And now they know it too. They know that humans are not weak, not primitive, and not easily destroyed. That knowledge may keep us alive longer than anything else." The night sky remained silent, but humans could feel the presence of watchers. Satellites blinked in orbit, energy signals pulsed across the planet, and the alien fleet moved quietly in space. The first true encounter was over, but the tension remained. Humans had survived, adapted, and learned, and the aliens had discovered something terrifying: the full strength of a species that never gave up, never yielded, and never stopped growing. "We are alive," John whispered again. "And that may be all that matters. They have returned after 500,000 years expecting weakness, and instead they found strength. They discovered a species that refuses to die. That is what terrifies them." Lisa nodded. "And that is humanity. We endure, we learn, we survive. No matter the odds, no matter the enemies, no matter the universe itself, we endure, and that is our true power." Rythak and his officers reviewed the last data from Earth one final time before holding their council. The humans had proven themselves beyond expectation. Clever, adaptive, resilient, and patient. They had survived disasters that should have destroyed them. They had rebuilt, adapted, and now they were ready for anything. "This species is not to be underestimated," Rythak said. "We return after 500,000 years and find a predator species disguised as a simple world. They are clever, dangerous, and enduring. We may watch, we may wait, but we must never confront them without care. The cost would be unimaginable." And so the aliens withdrew for now, carrying the knowledge of what humans had become. On Earth, humans continued to prepare, unaware of the full depth of the aliens' fear, but confident in their ability to endure. Both sides had learned a crucial truth. Intelligence, patience, and survival were the greatest weapons, and humans had all three in abundance. The stars were silent once more, but the memory of the encounter remained. Humanity had survived the first contact, and the universe had been reminded that some species were not easily conquered. Humans were clever, adaptive, and unyielding. They survived, and that was terrifying to all who underestimated them. The alien fleet faded into the darkness beyond Mars, but the knowledge they carried would never be forgotten. Humans had endured the impossible, and their survival had become a warning to the galaxy. Never underestimate a species that refuses to die. And on Earth, life went on, but nothing would ever be the same. The humans had survived the return of an ancient species, and they had survived because of what they always had: the will to endure, the mind to adapt, and the strength to survive against all odds. Aliens return to Earth after 500,000 years. What they discover is terrifying. EP2.